Hey guys, this is Alexander at All Security Equipment, and today we have Scott Fliggy from BFT. He is the national sales manager for the brand, and we're going to talk about the Deimos today. And I'm super excited because with Scott, we created a kit specifically for all security equipment customers. And Scott is going to tell us why you should buy the Deimos instead of the other brands. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Alex. Excited to be here.
Yes, me too. And I'm pretty excited to talk about this because the first thing about this motor is that it's small.
Yes.
But what are the capacities of this small motor that fits in this box, by the way?
Yeah, people are always amazed. So BFT, it's Italian engineered, made, designed. So it's designed to be small, compact, and sleek. So there's not a lot of airspace, which gives the motor itself a very low profile, which is great to hide the automation side of your gate. The Deimos BT A400, surprisingly enough, is rated for gates up to 880 pounds and 75 feet in length. What makes the Deimos special is its rack and pinion. And rack and pinion is very different from chain. Rack and pinion,
I know in the US, everybody likes chain because it's easy.
Yep.
It's easy to install and you install it easy. Rack and pinion is not that much harder. It's just a little bit more of, I would say, like a precise installation.
Correct. Yep. The track's got to be level. That's the main thing. But there's a lot of advantages to having rack versus chain. The main thing is maintenance. Chain can rust out. The nylon coated rack will not rust out. It's very quiet when it operates versus sometimes chain might drag on the ground and create some noise. It's also not secure. Chain can be cut.
To me, that's the biggest thing between rack and pinion and chain is like if you have, privacy gate, anybody can come, cut the chain, and basically open your gate.
Correct. Versus the track, not able to cut. So it's very secure.
That is a big thing,
Yes.
in my opinion. All right, cool. And so what are the other cool thing about this little powerful motor?
Yep. Same across the whole line of BFT. We have D-Track technology integrated into the control board.
So what is the V-Track technology?
And what that does, it learns the torque over the lifespan of a gate. So sometimes, especially sliding gates, the torque settings inside might need to increase over time with terrain, etc., which means less tech calls. It's going to automatically increase torque settings or decrease torque settings when that technology is activated inside the control board.
So it basically gets old with the gate.
It does.
But except that it doesn't get old. I mean, it learns with the time and it adapts to the gate and to the environment because we know the wheels can get a little rusty,
Yep.
the track can get dirty, all this stuff, and it would adjust based on what the gate needs.
Correct. Yep, exactly.
That is pretty cool.
Without having the installer physically come out to the site and make adjustments, it will do it automatically.
That is great. And so one also of the great feature about this motor is that it is a battery backup motor.
Yes.
And we know, for example, one of our big seller is the RSL from LiftMaster, which is a 12-volt operator, but it's a battery run, which means that if the batteries go bad, then the operator stops working.
Yep.
Whereas this one, it can run with or without battery. And actually, the battery backup is a totally separated system. Tiny, but how many cycles?
50 cycles out of the
50
battery.
cycles.
So it's true battery backup.
So if you open your gate, twice a day, open close cycle is open close twice a day, you have basically let's give it a margin of error, 20 days of battery backup.
Several weeks, yes.
Exactly, which is pretty amazing for this tiny battery. But you can always increase the size of the batteries if you want and make it solar if you want and all those things. So that's really cool. And we're going to show you in a minute how does that fit in there, because it's pretty impressive.
Believe it or not, it does fit inside the casing.
All right. And so I see a bunch of hardware here. What are these used for?
Yep. So you have a base plate here that you would run your conduit up for your power. And then you have your brackets for your limit switch. On the very back of the motor, you'll see the limit switch here. So as the gate's rolling back and forth, this will stop and start.
Perfect. And then I guess in front is the manual release as well.
Yes. I also just want to point out the limits. There's a slow down on the start and the stop. So the gate's not going to just ram into the close position. You can set the distance in the control board for how long you want it to slow down so it's nice and smooth.
So you can make it like go as fast as possible and then like clearly 5 inches before the end, just slow down.
Slow. Yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's open and see what's inside.
All right, perfect. So the control board is up top, and you'll see all the terminal strips here. These are standardized across the whole BFT range. So once you learn the control board for one motor with BFT products, you'll know it throughout the whole range.
You just need to know your colors.
Correct.
As long as you know the colors, you can install a BFT.
You can certainly install BFT. So here's where you'd have your line voltage come in, and then on the back side, you're going to have your transformer that transforms it down to 24 volts, which allows us to use the battery backup.
And the battery backup. So as you can see, there is not that much space, but BFT, engineered this pretty well, pretty sleek. And so I'm gonna try to do that, reverse, but basically we just slide it in like this. Yep. And then you just clip this back in, plug it in, and you're good to go. And now you have a battery backup operator. Still the same form factor, 50 cycle battery backup. And that's great. I personally like small motors because that way, you really don't see it. You can maybe even hide it with like a fake, we could even do like a fake bush or something.
Yes.
So that way you really don't see it and the gate magically opens and closes.
Yes.
So that's really nice. And then after that, you would need to select the amount of racks that you need. So the racks, they come in about 3 feet, right? 3.3 feet. I think that's the
little over 3
size.
feet.
Yeah,
Correct.
and everything is shippable by UPS, which is great compared to some other pad mount operator that have to be shipped by truck. This we can ship it by UPS, so you can get it as quickly as overnight if you want.
Yes.
It's gonna cost a lot of money, but you can still get it next day. So that is really remarkable. And so the cool thing is that we created this kit. So the kit is going to come with the motor, the battery backup, because that's an extra, super engineered battery backup. Come with one remote that I personally really like. Very, very sleek, small, still 4 buttons, so you can program it the way you want. And talking about programming, a cool thing is that the receiver is built into the board, so no extra thing to use, no extra thing to plug in. You just connect it directly to the control board. And then we also included 2 photo eye, because even though this is not a UL operator, we have to say it's UL compliant, which means that we have the 2 photo eye to really monitor the 2 entrapment zone of the gate.
Correct. One thing I want to point out, back to the D-Track technology, it has obstruction detection. So if the gate is ever obstructed, it will automatically stop or reverse as well.
Okay. And you can
across the...
Can you program the force that you want to use for the...
You can also program the force as well. Yep.
But it comes standard with what the engineers feel is like the right amount of obstruction, basically.
Correct. Yep. Yep, at default.
All right, very cool. So this is the Deimos BFT rack and pinion slide gate operator, and I really like it. I think it's a really cool little machine, has everything you can do, and we also paired it with a smartphone app which is called Remotio. So it's a tiny little device that you would insert in the motor, and that gives you the opportunity to control your gate with Siri, Google, Alexa, and it does also Bluetooth. And the cool thing is that it does internet, but also Wi-Fi, meaning that even if you lose internet, but your phone and the device is connected to the Wi-Fi, you can still open and close it or even know the status, which is pretty cool. So this was the Deimos from BFT and Scott from BFT. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.